left for dead in the wilderness. A sick Mustang seemed to have no hope, until a twist of fate turned the predator into the prey. What unfolded next was a breathtaking display of loyalty and survival that no one could have expected. Jake, a rugged man in his late 30s, had spent his entire life tending to the land, working tirelessly to keep his ranch afloat. The relentless droughts and dwindling cattle sales had pushed him to the brink. Every day was a battle against the elements and mounting debts. His once thriving ranch now stood as a reminder of how fragile dreams could be. As he roamed the vast, sun-scorched plains, he often found solace in the quiet rustle of the wind through the dry grass and the occasional sighting of wild mustangs, symbols of freedom and resilience. One evening, as the sun dipped low, casting an orange hue across the sky, Jake stumbled upon a Mustang horse lying motionless near a dried-out creek. Its coat, once a vibrant chestnut, was now dull and matted with sweat. The horse's flanks heaved with labored breaths. Its eyes, glazed and dull, spoke of pain and exhaustion. Jake approached cautiously, his boots crunching softly on the parched earth. The Mustang barely stirred, too weak to resist or flee. Jake crouched beside the animal, examining its condition. The horse was emaciated, its ribs prominently visible under the taut skin. It bore signs of dehydration and perhaps an injury to one of its legs. The Mustang's condition tugged at Jake's heartstrings, yet his mind was a storm of conflicting thoughts. His ranch was barely surviving, and taking in a sick horse seemed like a burden he couldn't afford. He knew the time, resources, and effort it would take to nurse the Mustang back to health. "You're not my problem," he muttered under his breath, though the words felt hollow. He was no stranger to hard decisions. Life on the ranch had toughened him, teaching him to prioritize survival over sentiment. Yet, walking away from a creature in need didn't sit right with him. The Mustang's labored breathing filled the silence, each breath a desperate plea for life. After a few agonizing minutes, Jake made a decision. He reasoned with himself, convincing his conscience that the kindest act would be to put the Mustang out of its misery. But his hand hesitated on the handle of his knife. A surge of guilt welled up within him. He couldn't bring himself to do it. Instead, he decided to leave nature to take its course. Nearby, he found a sturdy tree and led the Mustang to it, the animal stumbling weakly beside him. With a heavy heart, he tied the horse securely, ensuring it wouldn't wander off and suffer alone. He whispered a soft apology, stroking its mane, feeling the weight of his decision. The distant howls of wolves echoed through the twilight, a grim reminder of what lay ahead for the helpless animal. Jake walked away, each step heavier than the last. He glanced back once, the Mustang's silhouette framed against the fading light. He told himself he had no choice, that the Mustang was too far gone. Yet, as the darkness enveloped the landscape, he couldn't shake the feeling that he had abandoned more than just a horse. He had left behind a part of his own humanity. As the first stars pierced the darkening sky, Jake trudged away from the Mustang, his heart heavy with a mix of guilt and resignation. The crisp evening air did little to soothe his troubled mind. Each step away from the horse felt like a betrayal, a surrender to the harshness of nature that he'd sworn never to fully embrace. He knew the wilderness was unforgiving, and yet he couldn't shake the nagging feeling that he had condemned a creature that had once symbolized the indomitable spirit of the land. Jake tried to justify his actions. "It's just a horse," he muttered to himself. "I can't save everything." His ranch was on the brink of collapse, and every resource had to be carefully allocated. The Mustang was too weak, too sick. It would have been a drain on his limited means. His rational mind constructed walls around the pangs of guilt, convincing himself that he had made the only sensible choice. Yet, deep down, he knew it wasn't just about the Mustang. It was about his own weariness, his struggle to keep going against insurmountable odds. Meanwhile, back at the tree, the Mustang's body trembled, not from fear, but from sheer determination. The rope around its neck was tight, but the horse refused to give in. Its breaths came in ragged bursts, nostrils flaring as it tugged weakly against its restraints. The Mustang's spirit, though weakened by illness, had not been broken. Its survival instinct roared louder than its physical ailments. Each feeble attempt to break free was a testament to its will to live. The night grew darker, the silence of the plains punctuated only by the occasional rustle of leaves in the wind. In the distance, the haunting howls of wolves echoed through the air. They were on the hunt, their keen noses catching the scent of vulnerability. The Mustang's weakened state was like a beacon, drawing them closer, step by calculated step. The pack of wolves moved through the underbrush with practiced ease, their eyes glinting in the moonlight. Their leader, a large grizzled male, led the way, his senses finely attuned to the scent of the sick horse. The pack's hunger had been growing. Food was scarce, and the Mustang presented an opportunity they could not ignore. As they approached the tree, the Mustang sensed the danger. Its ears twitched, and its eyes, though clouded with exhaustion, widened in alarm. The wolves circled, their predatory instincts heightened by the scent of the weak prey. They closed in slowly, savoring the anticipation of an easy kill. But the Mustang was not ready to surrender. It gathered what little strength it had left, pulling harder against the rope. Its hooves dug into the earth as it strained, muscles quivering under the effort. The wolves watched, their growls low and menacing, waiting for the right moment to strike. The struggle of the Mustang in the face of imminent danger was a stark contrast to the decisions Jake had made earlier. Unbeknownst to him, the fight for life he had deemed futile was still very much alive, unfolding in the shadows of the night. The tension in the air was palpable as the wolves circled closer, their eyes gleaming with anticipation. The sick Mustang, bound and vulnerable, struggled with every ounce of strength it could muster. Its hooves scraped against the earth, a futile attempt to break free from the rope that tethered it to the tree. The wolves, sensing an easy victory, inched nearer, their low growls harmonizing with the eerie stillness of the night. Suddenly, a powerful, resonant sound cut through the night, the echoing neigh of another Mustang. The wolves paused, their heads snapping toward the sound, ears perked. From the shadows of the surrounding hills emerged a commanding figure, the lead Mustang of a nearby herd. His coat was a shimmering silver, his mane flowing in the wind like a banner of defiance. He moved with an air of authority, his muscular frame a testament to his strength and dominance in the wild. The lead Mustang's arrival was unexpected, a disruption in the natural order of the wolves' hunt. His eyes locked onto the sick Mustang, still struggling against its restraints, and then shifted to the encircling wolves. Without hesitation, the lead Mustang let out a fierce, challenging neigh, his hooves stamping the ground as if to stake his claim on the territory, and the life of the horse bound to the tree. In response to their leader's call, the rest of the herd appeared from the shadows, their figures materializing in the moonlight like silent guardians. They moved with synchronized precision, forming a protective circle around the sick Mustang. The herd, drawn by the cries of their own, had come to stand as a united front against the threat of the wolves. The lead Mustang stepped forward, his posture aggressive and unyielding. He charged at the wolves, teeth bared and hooves pounding the ground with thunderous force. The wolves, caught off guard by the sudden show of strength, hesitated. They were predators used to preying on the weak and isolated, but here was a formidable opponent, a leader with a herd ready to defend one of their own. The wolves snapped and growled, trying to probe for a weakness in the herd's formation, but each attempt was met with a swift, coordinated response. The lead Mustang and his herd moved as one, their unity an impenetrable shield. The wolves, despite their hunger, began to falter. The risk of injury in a confrontation with such a powerful and determined herd outweighed the potential reward of a meal. Throughout the night, the herd stood vigil, the lead Mustang patrolling the perimeter, his eyes never leaving the wolves. The sick Mustang, now cocooned in the safety of its herd, rested its head against the tree, no longer struggling but sensing the security provided by its companions. The wolves lingered at the edges of the clearing, watching, waiting for an opening that never came. As dawn broke, the first light of day cast a golden glow over the landscape. The wolves, weary and defeated, retreated into the forest, their howls fading into the distance. The lead Mustang, victorious in his defense, stood tall and proud, his breath visible in the cool morning air. The herd, having protected one of their own, remained close, their presence a testament to the strength found in unity and leadership. The sick Mustang, though still weak, had survived the night, shielded by the extraordinary courage of its kin. As the first rays of sunlight crept over the horizon, the night's tension began to dissipate. The wolves, having spent hours prowling around the protective circle formed by the herd, finally retreated into the shadows. Their hunger was no match for the fierce, unyielding defense of the Mustangs. Defeated and frustrated, they slunk away, their howls fading into the distance as the forest reclaimed its tranquil stillness. In the soft light of dawn, the scene by the tree was one of quiet resilience. The lead Mustang stood tall, his powerful frame silhouetted against the rising sun. His eyes scanned the area, ensuring the threat had truly passed. Around him, the herd remained vigilant, their bodies forming a protective barrier around the sick Mustang, now lying peacefully on the ground. Though exhausted from the night's ordeal, the sick horse rested more easily, comforted by the presence of its herd. Meanwhile, back at his ranch, Jake wrestled with a restless sleep, his dreams haunted by the image of the sick Mustang he had left behind. The guilt gnawed at him, a persistent reminder of the decision he had made. As the first light broke through his window, he woke abruptly, an inexplicable urgency propelling him to check on the Mustang. He dressed quickly, his heart heavy with the expectation of finding only the aftermath of a wolf attack. Jake mounted his horse and rode back to the spot where he had tied the Mustang. The journey was a blur of anxious thoughts, each hoofbeat echoing the drum of his worry. As he approached the tree, he prepared himself for the worst, a grim scene of nature's unforgiving cycle. But what he found left him speechless. Instead of a lifeless form, Jake saw the herd of wild Mustangs, their bodies encircling the sick horse. The lead Mustang, majestic and vigilant, still stood watch, his eyes meeting Jake's as he approached. The scene was almost surreal. a testament to the unbreakable bonds of loyalty and protection within the herd. The sick Mustang, though weak, was alive, its body cradled by the unyielding strength of its companions. Jake dismounted, his heart swelling with a mix of awe and humility. He walked slowly toward the herd, careful not to startle them. The lead Mustang regarded him with a wary but calm gaze, as if recognizing that Jake meant no harm. Jake's eyes softened as he took in the scene. The unity, the bravery, the unspoken promise of protection the herd had kept through the night. Kneeling beside the sick Mustang, Jake gently touched its mane. The horse stirred slightly, its eyes opening to meet Jake's gaze. In that moment, Jake felt a profound shift within himself. The resilience of the Mustang, the loyalty of the herd, and the raw power of their collective will to protect one of their own stirred something deep within him. It was a reminder of the values he had once cherished: care, responsibility, and the courage to stand by those in need. Jake rose to his feet, determination replacing the doubt that had plagued him. He knew he couldn't leave the Mustang again. It deserved a chance to heal, to recover under the care of someone who had learned a valuable lesson about compassion and resilience. Jake approached the lead Mustang, offering a silent nod of gratitude before gently untying the rope from the tree. The sick Mustang, sensing Jake's newfound resolve, attempted to rise. With Jake's support, it managed to stand on trembling legs. The herd watched, their collective presence a silent encouragement. Jake led the Mustang slowly away, his heart lighter with each step, knowing he was doing the right thing. As he guided the horse back to his ranch, Jake made a promise to himself and the Mustang. He would provide the care it needed, and in doing so, honor the incredible bravery and loyalty he had witnessed. The journey back was no longer just about saving the horse. It was about restoring a piece of his own humanity. Back at his ranch, Jake set up a comfortable, sheltered space for the sick Mustang. He carefully cleaned its wounds and provided it with fresh water and nourishing food. The Mustang was still weak, its movements sluggish, but Jake was patient. Day by day, he attended to the horse, his hands becoming gentler, his actions more thoughtful. The once hardened rancher found himself softening, his heart opening to the lessons the Mustang had to teach. As the Mustang began to recover, Jake noticed changes not only in the horse, but in himself as well. The Mustang's spirit, though battered, was unbroken. It struggled to stand, to walk, and eventually to gallop in short bursts within the confines of Jake's care. Each small victory for the Mustang was a revelation for Jake. He saw in the horse a reflection of strength, resilience, and an indomitable will to live. a testament to nature's unyielding drive for survival. Jake's daily routine transformed as he became more attuned to the needs of his animals. Where once he may have overlooked the finer details of their care, he now took extra time to ensure each animal was healthy and content. The lessons learned from nursing the Mustang back to health extended to the entire ranch. Jake began to see his animals not just as means to an end, but as beings deserving of care and respect. His empathy grew, and with it, his bond to the life around him deepened. Months passed, and the Mustang's recovery was remarkable. Its coat regained its sheen, and its muscles, once weak, grew strong and capable again. The day came when Jake knew it was time for the Mustang to return to its true home, the wild. As much as he had grown attached to the horse, he understood that its spirit belonged to the open plains, where it could run free and reunite with the herd that had shown such unwavering loyalty. On a bright morning, Jake led the Mustang to the edge of his ranch, the open wilderness stretching out before them. The Mustang stood tall and proud, its strength fully restored. For a moment it lingered, as if acknowledging Jake's efforts and the bond they had formed. Jake patted its neck one last time, a mixture of pride and bittersweet emotion in his heart. With a powerful kick of its hind legs, the Mustang took off, galloping toward the horizon. Jake watched as it disappeared into the distance, a silver blur rejoining the herd that had once stood so bravely by its side. The sight filled Jake with a sense of fulfillment and a renewed connection to the wild, unpredictable beauty of nature. The experience had changed Jake profoundly. He had learned that compassion could heal, that the strength of community could protect, and that even in the bleakest moments, the will to survive could triumph. His life on the ranch took on new meaning. He began sharing his story with others, emphasizing the importance of treating all living creatures with kindness and respect. The Mustang's journey from the brink of death to running free once again became a symbol of resilience and survival, inspiring not only Jake, but the entire community. The story of the Mustang and the herd spread, reminding everyone of the powerful lessons nature imparts and the incredible outcomes that can arise when compassion and unity prevail. Through this journey, Jake found redemption, not just in the eyes of the Mustang, but in his own heart. The once struggling rancher had become a man of compassion and purpose, forever changed by a wild horse that refused to give up and the herd that refused to abandon it.